Yo. Welcome into the ChrisBeCappinn Show. We are finally live. I know I'm a couple minutes late. I'm actually a lot of minutes late, but it's all good, man. We're going to get to the action that we got on the board for today. We got two WNBA games, round twos, and a few games I want to go over with in the NFL as well, and just share a couple plays. NFL has not treated me great. We did break even. Well, not break even, but we did go 1-1 on Thursday Night Football. Dallas minus 5.5 was a loser, of course. And Dak did go over in his 1.5 passing touchdowns pretty easily. He did that in the first half. So, we'll jump right into it. Let's just jump right into it. No need to recap. Haven't done a show in a couple days. I did put out a standalone video for the Aces in the Liberty game. If anybody had a chance to catch that, it's kind of deep dive into the game. So definitely check that one out. Put that out last night. Let's get into it for today. See who here with me. Mark says, "Good morning, Chris and community. It's going to be a great day. Believe it. I like it. Tongue is powerful, Mark. Put the powerful words into the atmosphere. I believe it." He says, "Chris, thanks for the early vid and members posts." Yeah, absolutely, Mark. Appreciate you, bro. What up, Justin? Top of the morning. Bitsy says, "Morning, Mark, crew, and Chris. Appreciate the caution on Dak passing attempts. Saved me some coin." Yeah, I talked about them being able to establish the run a little bit more. So I'm glad you held off there. Bitsy reminding everybody hit the like button. What up, Michael? What up, PZ? Says, "Top of the morning again, Chris. You've been killing these WNBA player prop unders. Let's keep it going." Yeah, I don't got one for today though, PZ. Maybe we could talk it out and we could find one that we like. I didn't really look too much into player props for the Lynx in the Sun game, but we can talk it out. We got time to talk it out. What up, Marquise? Says, "Rising fam." He said, "Rise and grind family. Let's get it." Jameer says, "First time tapping into the NFL show. Been around for the W. Let's see what you got." Yeah, let's see if we can cash some tickets there. CG says, "Morning, Chris. Let's make it a green day. Need to. Absolutely needed." G421 says the same thing. What up, Chris? Ready for the WM run straight towards the NBA. Let's get going. Yeah, I mentioned this for people who didn't get a chance to see the post, but we'll start WNBA previews on Tuesday. The calendar's already out. We're going to go Atlanta Hawks and Memphis Grizzlies on Monday. We'll do two teams every single day. I just kind of randomized it, and those were the first two teams. So I've already done like the first couple teams, and we'll talk about all of the acquisitions, the odds for the teams, what makes the most sense. So yeah, we're gonna get to some NBA money this year, and just run it up again like we did last year. DJ Prop says, "What's good, Chris? Broncos will upset the Jets today. You heard it here first." Okay, what up, Clippers? And Justin says, "Go Hawks." Hawks win total like 35.5. Justin, I low-key want to get there. I want to tie my money up season long on the Hawks, but we'll talk about it. We'll talk about it on Tuesday. All right, let's jump into it. Let's jump into it for today. Like I said, no need to recap, even though WNBA has been hot, boy. Hot, 9-2 start. Hopefully we can keep that going. Let's jump into Aces and Liberty. This game will be played at 4:00. I think let me just double check the lines real quick. I don't think that they've changed any since I start. Yeah, 4 total 63.5, 163.5. So everything is still pretty much the same. It is moving to 4.5 on a couple books. I see 5. I see 5 4.5s right now, and 4 on the rest of the book. So this was the game that I did do a deep dive into yesterday, and kind of share some looks, sent out some plays to the members. The line really haven't moved a lot at all. So first thing I think that stands out to me when I think about the Aces and the Liberty, and I put this in the opinion section, man. This is the one thing that just kind of kept coming back to me. It was that, if this is longer than your first year of capping the WNBA, not that I've been capping it forever, but if you've been watching the WNBA and handicapping it for longer than this season, then you remember how the season ended for the Liberty last year. They were down Kia Stokes. The Aces were down Kia Stokes. The Aces were also down Chelsea Gray, and they went into New York and beat the Liberty on their floor in game. What was that? I don't remember what game it was, but they beat them. And the Aces were the dogs in that game. similar to them being a dog in this spot here. And the Liberty lost that game. They should have won. They were supposed to win the game. They just didn't have enough grit, didn't have enough dogs. So what do? They go out, they add some depth around this bench. Leona Phoebus has been absolutely amazing for this team all season. And I think that they've taken the next step. Remember last year, they weren't a collective group quite yet. It was their first year kind of all playing together with Stewie, Jacko Jones, and Sabrina Ionescu. So I kind of feel like, and I didn't even check season long prices. Series long prices. I'm sorry, series long prices. But I kind of feel like the Liberty is supposed to bounce back in the spot. Let's put it like that. We'll see if they've learned from their lesson. Some of the stuff on the left hand side, I just got in here that the Liberty, they did win every single matchup, 3-0 straight up, 2-1 against the number. The game that they didn't cover was actually the last game of the season when they won that game in New York, 81-75 with no Asia Wilson. They got out to a 20-point lead. I remember sending out I think it was like the -5. When Asia got ruled out, which I talked about her not playing the game before, and it didn't matter. It didn't matter. They just kind of let up off the gas pedal, and for that reason, that's why I like the Liberty even more, because they understand that the Aces not gonna roll over and lay down for them. I think that was a wake up call in that game when they almost lost to the Liberty without Asia Wilson. Can you imagine what that does psychologically for you when you lose to a team that you lost to last year, and they were shorthanded last year, and then they're without their best player and the WNBA MVP? So I think for all of that, I think that's why I like the Liberty a little bit more. Like all of the numbers and stuff to the side. I do think it's going to be a defensive game as well. Over here on the left, you guys can see that I put all three meetings did go under on the season. 174.5 is what the first two totals were. Both of those games were played in Vegas. They both went under. Then it dropped down to 167. Of course, a big part of that was without Asia Wilson. That game goes under as well. And I do think we get just top level defense. I almost want to take a first half under, but I'll hold off there. These are just two excellent defenses. I talked about this in the video last night, but the Liberty went 6-1 to the under against teams that had a 55% win percentage or better when the total was greater than 163. The Aces were also held under their team total in 9 of the 10 matchups. Then 9 of their last 10 matchups when they were playing against a team that had a 55% win percentage or better. And, I talked about it being a big part of it. I thought was Kia Stokes and Jackie Young. Kia Stokes is a great defensive player. She's a screen setter, but offensively, she doesn't bring a lot to the table. And Jackie Young has just been absolutely terrible against the Liberty specifically, averaging just 8.7 points per game in the 3 games that they played each other, on 29% shooting and 23.5% shooting from the 3-point line. So I think you're going to need a big Jackie Young series if you like the Aces in this spot. You're also going to need a big Tiff Hayes series off the bench, because the way I see it, the Liberty got more guns. They got more horses. I just feel like they have a little bit more. Now, will they win? I think that they will, but I do think that the Aces, they're not gonna roll over. So I say all that to say I did take the Aces. I did take the Liberty -4. Smaller play, but I did take the under as well, under 163.5. I don't think that the Aces get to 80 points. I think their team total is 79.5. And I think the Liberty gonna rely a little bit more on their defense than their offense. So both of these teams are also excellent at giving up miscellaneous baskets. The Aces don't turn the ball over a lot. I think they had like #1 ball security in the WNBA. So I'm not looking for the Liberty to be able to get out and run in transition off turnovers. Conversely, the Liberty don't turn the ball over as much either, and they don't give up a lot of points in transition or second chance points. The Aces are also last, I think, in second chance points on the season. So I don't think that the miscellaneous points will be there either. I just see it as a grinded out style game. If the first game goes over, if we're wrong, then I'll be on the under in the second game. So yeah, those are my thoughts. I said a lot, but I just a recap. I'm on the Ace. I'm on the Liberty -4, and I'm on the under 163.5 in this spot. Lando says, I feel like the Liberty should have motion early. First half money line. Take my lady on date. Okay. DJ Prop says, Chris, I need to hear your opinion on the Towns trade, bro. Yeah, we'll get into the Towns trade. I'm not gonna do it right now, Prop, but Yeah, the Towns trade was crazy to me. I did, y'all know I follow all the beat writers, so I was going through and trying to figure it out. I figured out why they did it, and it's pretty much because they was going to owe Carthy Towns so much money over the next 4 years. So this was like a salary dump while also adding a good piece and getting Dante DiVincenzo, in the midst of it all. So, and they also love Dante DiVincenzo. Like they were trying to get Dante DiVincenzo like a couple years ago. Minnesota was, so they're in love with Dante DiVincenzo. I think he's going to help out the team a lot. I don't know, man. It kind of rubbed me the wrong way. I didn't really like the trade as much. But that's the WNBA. I mean, that's the NBA. Like WNBA too, but that's the NBA. Get paid millions of dollars, put your big boy shoes on, and go play where they want you to play. Yeah, that's just the way it goes. I think we'll talk about it when we get into the previews, though. Those are just like first things I want to talk about. Justin says, if you know, you know. I plant my flag on the Jets -7.5 and -9.5 today. CG says, what about Asia going under her 24.5 points? So CG, when I was looking into this last night, Asia specifically, I think she's averaged like right around 24, 25 points in the 3 games. I am of the mindset that Asia's going to have a 40-point game in this series. She'll probably end up drawing Jaquel Jones, who's a pretty good defender, but nobody can stop Asia Wilson. And I'm also of the mindset that Asia has the best matchup on the floor. Kelsey Plum has really struggled throughout the regular season in some of these in these games versus other teams. Like she had that game where she had like 2 or 4 or 5 or 7 points or something like that against Seattle in round 1 in the first game. But Kelsey Plum has actually lit the Liberty up. She's averaged 20. So I think the emphasis for Coach Brondello will be to slow down Kelsey Plum, of course. A lot of what Kelsey Plum is, a lot of what she does is she likes to come off a lot of ball screens, whether it's to her right or to her left. She's an excellent finisher with both hands. And get to the rim, try to score points in the paint, or she's shooting a 3. It doesn't feel like is it really any in between with Kelsey Plum. So I say all that to say that I'm just at a mindset that Asia's gonna have to dominate, and I think that she'll be ready. I do think that she'll be ready. My X factor for the entire series though is Jaquel Jones. She has to establish herself on the offensive end. She can't just stand around the corner on the 3-point line and shoot threes. She's going to have to go down there and get a bunch of rebounds. The Liberty are by far the better rebounding team when you think about the size and the length and athleticism that they can put on the floor. And they don't have a dud out there. Everybody can space the floor. Everybody can shoot it. So I think Asia's going to have to bring it every single game. I would not be taking her under on her points. And if she goes under in the first game, I'll probably take the over in the second game. But I do think it's going to be a big Asia Wilson series. Wilson points and rebounds. Does she dominate? I think she has to, G4. I think she has to. Timeout says, much love, Chris. Keep crushing it. Appreciate that, bro. 9K says, give me the aces. Asia Wilson is different. Okay. So he just thinks because Asia is different that the team's going to show up. Well, let me talk you off. We're on the opposite side, but best of luck. Mark says, I'm also on the libs, but they need to watch the turnovers. Ace has been converting takeaways, and I agree with that, man. This is a step up in class, but I kind of think that the Liberty were waiting for this spot. I do think we see a big, not that, like I said, it's not going to be easy, but I think the Liberty are the better team right now. Sabrina hot off the playoffs, hot off the points in the playoffs thus far. Yeah, Sabrina's going to be big. Her 3-point shot is falling. The Aces could be in big trouble, but she's played. I want to say she's played well in the matchups. I think the leading scorer in the matchup so far in the first 3 games. So yeah, you're gonna need her to play well. Drop a Dimes has already grabbed that first half under at 80.5, and I'm leaning towards Jackie Young under the 12.5 points. Drop a Dimes, you're thinking like I'm thinking, man. This was 2 plays that I had on my short list. Didn't make it to the window with either one, but the first half under makes a lot of sense. The Aces are something like 12-1 to the first half under in the last 13 games. And I know that the Liberty can I know that the defense is going to be better going up against the Liberty. I also know the Liberty going to be locked in defensively as well. So the first half under makes a lot of sense. I just played full game instead. Justin said, agree with and bet the under 163. What up, Keith? Hope all is well with you, bro. He says, I think the Aces should approach this series playing with 5 shooters and get Jonquel off the floor. It worked in the last matchup, and the Lynx were successful at this. Okay. What up, Aaron? He says, what up, Chris Community? I'm on the under in this game, but also taking the Lynx to win it all. I think the Lynx was like plus 350 when I looked. Best price you could get for the Lynx. Best of luck there, Aaron. Marquis says, called Aces plus 4.5. Let's see how the champs come out in this first game. So we got a lot of conflicting opinions here. Mark says, I'm sitting on the future, on the libs, and the Aces. One needs to win it all. Okay. G4 says, Chris, so you saying if Asia goes under in the first game, Martine Gale, the next, yeah, I'm only going over if she goes under. What's up, Travis? He says, what's good, my guy? 80 points plus assists, and he likes Chelsea Gray to go over her points. Chelsea Gray could be the X factor for the Aces. She's looked really, really good since the playoffs have started. I could not talk anyone off from Chelsea Gray. We'll see how well she can play against the Liberty. I mentioned this, but she missed the first game when these two teams matched up earlier this season. She was back in the second game, right? Yeah, she was back in the second game. The second game, the Liberty played in Vegas, and they didn't have Benaji Laney Hamilton, and they blew the Aces out 96-75. So yeah, Chelsea Gray, she was kind of ramping back up though. So I guess I'll give her that. Justin says he got a Liberty future pre-flop and a Lynx future bet at the commissioners break. You got a hell of a number then, Justin. That number just keeps coming down for the Liberty. I could see it's three teams I could see winning it, honestly. Like, I think if the Aces win this one, I think it's gonna be difficult for them. They don't match up well with Minnesota. Minnesota's beaten them, I think, 3 to 4 times that they played so far this season, or it might be two of the 3 times that they played so far. But I'm not betting against the Lynx, which is the perfect segue. We can roll right into that. DJ says Chelsea Gray props look safe today. Liberty lets her cook as they take away other players. Yeah, I could see that. But they know how big time Chelsea Gray is, though. Like, Chelsea Gray is big time. Which alternate handicap are you talking about? Timeout. Yeah, that's a fact. If they don't win this first one, they are in trouble. I agree with that too, Travis. But I don't know. I don't know how much I agree with this now. I think about it. The Liberty done beat the Aces twice in Vegas. 78-61 by 17 points and 96-75. The Liberty have also been better on the road than they've been at home. So I think I slightly disagree with that. Even last year, remember the Liberty beat the Aces in the Commissioner's Cup in Vegas after Sabrina got her shoes stolen. So I don't know if I agree with that. I think I might disagree. All right, next game up, we got the Connecticut Sun and the Minnesota Lynx. This line is actually coming down to it's 4.5 for a couple fours out there, a couple 4.5s. Total looks like it's trending upwards a little bit. 154.5. It's 155 on a few books, but it just depends on where you're shopping. So not a lot of variance there. We got a really good matchup here, man. I didn't do a standalone video for this game because it really was just gonna be me talking without giving out a play. I didn't play this game. Really difficult for me to not want to play Minnesota just because this team has been, they're really, really good at basketball. But Connecticut has also played them really, really well, and I think they match up with them pretty well in this spot, especially bringing over Marina Mabry. So injury report wise, Ty Harris is listed as questionable. If she plays, I like Minnesota even more. I think, watching her take that fall in game 1 against the Indiana Fever was enough for me to think that she shouldn't play again this season. That just looked really, really bad. She came out, she was in the walking boot. I'm just not sure how efficient and effective she's going to be on the offensive end or on the defensive end. Like when you play the Lynx, they move, they do a lot of, it's a lot of motion, a lot of ball movement. I think that could hurt the Connecticut Sun if she does end up playing in this game, depending on how many minutes she gets, but I wouldn't expect her to be an impactful player at all. On the opposite side for the Minnesota Lynx, Xander Seeley popped up on the injury report yesterday. She's questionable with a quad injury. And you wouldn't think that would mean a lot, but Xander Seeley has actually been, really, really good. I thought that she should have been in the running for, 6th Woman of the Year. But she hasn't had an impactful, first round against the Mercury. She didn't play well. And when I went back and looked at the box scores between these two teams when they played, she's been like relatively a non-factor. I think a couple of those games she didn't even get a basket. So not sure how much she means to the spread here. I think, when I look at Minnesota now, this team is transitioned to playing Natasha Hines-Allen at that, as a big, and I think she's going to be on the floor a lot, especially what Connecticut likes to do. We know they like to play bully ball. They like to get the ball in the paint down low to Bree Jones, to Alyssa Thomas. So I think we see a lot of Natasha Hines-Allen in this series. And in the matchup that they played, the most recent matchup that they played, we did see a big, Natasha Hines-Allen effort in that game. She just does it all. For her to be a big, she, is super unselfish. She can set screens. She can shoot the ball. She's very physical. She can defend. So we'll see how that goes. Jumping into the matchup here, you got a Connecticut team that is 12-6. I put this on the left-hand side. 12-6 straight up, 9-8-1 against the number. They're 11-7 to the number as well since the Olympic break. I looked at them since the Olympic break as a dog, and they've been the dog 3 times since the Olympic break. 1-2 straight up and against the number. 3-0 to the under in this spot are the Connecticut Sun as road dogs since the Olympic break, as a dog since the Olympic break. Then I also, because the thing that's been plaguing me about the Sun all year is that they don't play well against competition. So I went and looked at that as well. Against teams that have a 55% win percentage or better, the Sun finished 8-8 straight up, 5-11 against the number, including 2-5 straight up, and against the number if they were a dog. So these were games where they played the Aces, the Liberty, and the Lynx, the Storm. They finished 2-5 straight up, 2-5 against the number. And as a road dog, 2-3 straight up and against the number overall. So that did not make me feel like I wanted to take the Connecticut Sun. Because conversely, when I look at the Minnesota Lynx, this is the best team in basketball since the Olympic break. A league best 18-4. So outside of Olympic break, which we'll get to in just a second, they're league best 18-4. You guys can see it in the top right. 18-4 straight up at the crib. That's the best. They finished better than the New York Liberty. 12-10 against the number, 13-8-1 to the under. Since the Olympic break, they're 15-1 straight up, 12-4 against the number. If you take away that last game when they played the Sparks and they rested Courtney Williams, they rested Kayla McBride and they rested Nafisha Collier. If you take that game out, they finished 15-1 since the Olympic break. I'm just not betting against the Minnesota Lynx right now, man. I look at them against good teams the same way I looked at Connecticut against good teams. I look at them against good teams. They have a 55% win percentage or better. So that when they're playing the top of the top, they finish 9-5 straight up, 10-4 against the number. Since the Olympic break, when they're playing against teams that have a 55% win percentage, a perfect 4-0 straight up, 4-0 against the number as well. They beat the Sun team, they beat the Liberty, and they beat the Aces twice. Since the Olympic break, I'm not betting against the Lynx, man. I don't think it's just gonna be that easy, but it's Lynx and nothing for me. I don't think I want to get there with Connecticut. The spread being 4.5 and them having to win by 2 possessions is I don't know. But when I did do a little bit deeper diving on this game. When I went and looked at the Lynx and they won at home, when they won at home and were laying less than like 10, they covered the number every single time. So it does make a strong lean towards the Lynx in this spot, minus the 4.5, but it's not something that I got to. I don't know. I feel weary about this game. It doesn't give me it's not like a strong feeling. As far as the total goes, this total is, I always tell you guys when it's 154, 153, 155, anything under the 156.5, 157, it does not make me want to look either way. I think, just kind of looking at the previous series, the first round, both teams were playing against a really good offense. The Mercury want to get out and run and shoot a bunch of threes and play really quickly, and so do the Indiana Fever. And neither one of those teams play defense. Both of these teams will play against a much better defensive team. And I actually put that here so you guys can see it. Well, actually, I did not. Let's see. I thought I did. Hold on. All right, here we go. So I put over here on the opinion side, Neither offense will look as good as they did in the last round because they were playing against weaker defenses. Minnesota has more bodies, especially with Ty Harris' injury. And I worry about Connecticut being able to score the basketball consistently enough to take the over. So, like I said, strong lean towards Minnesota minus the 4.5. But like I said, it's nothing that I played yet. As far as the total, Connecticut did go 4-1-1 to the under as road dogs this season. Their offense just really didn't travel as much. But when I looked a little bit deeper at Connecticut, they were 5-1 to the over in road games where the total was below 155. So it tells me that when this total gets this low, typically Connecticut can get up and over. Minnesota also finished 2-0 to the over when they were at home with a total that was below 155. So I kind of feel like this one could get up and over the total. Maybe I'll live bet it, but didn't play it. And that's enough. I feel like I've talked enough, especially not to give a play. Travis says you think the Aces are in different form. I think the Aces been playing again. They are in different form, Travis. They looked a lot better, but I think the Aces also been playing against some cupcakes. This is the upper echelon right here. Like if you're looking at the Aces, just real quick to your point, because I thought about this as well. When you're looking at the Aces, it really started when they lost that game to the Dallas Wings. Remember, we were on the Dallas Wings team. We were on the Aces team total over in that game, and they struggled against the Dallas Wings. So if you go back to that game was played on when they lost to the Dallas Wings on August the 27th, they have won every game outside of the game to the Liberty where they lost 71-75, and they've covered every game outside of the one that they just lost to the Storm. So you're right, they are in different form. But when I look at these opponents, right, you got the Dream. The Dream didn't have Tina Charles in this game. The Mercury, who fell off a cliff in the second half of the season. The Sky, who finished the last 14 games 3-11. The Sun, which that's a good win, but they're not better than the Liberty. The Liberty, which they covered but they didn't win. And they also, Liberty let their foot up off the gas. They come out play with their food when they're not playing against you at your strongest. That's what I've noticed about the Liberty. They also beat the Fever. Don't play any defense. They beat the Fever again. They don't play any defense. They beat the Sun, who are not the Liberty. They beat the Storm, who can't shoot the ball. They beat the Wings, who we don't even have to discuss the Wings. They beat the Storm, and they beat the Storm 2 other times. So yeah, this is just a step up in class for me in this spot, though, Travis. Michael says Lynx team total over. What do you think? So my only thing about the Lynx team total here, Michael, is that the Lynx can win this game. If they have a low-scoring game, they can still win. Will they get to, I think their team total is 79.5. That's a lot of points in a WNBA game. I know that they just scored, 100 twice, but that was against the Mercury, who like to run really, really fast. I can't get there with the team total over. Don't let me talk you off, but it's not something that I can play. Fred says maybe for 10 points, maybe, and take the Colts plus 2.5. Pittsburgh losing today. Okay. I don't know, but I'm not parlaying anything, no, Fred, but I hope you cash it, my brother. Michael says he does like that Lynx team total over. Edwin says Liberty can't lose to this Aces team again. I'm picking the Aces. Okay. Marquis says he's taking Fee over her 23.5 points. She's out there looking like she didn't touch the star from the Mario Brothers first 2 playoff games. Yeah, she went crazy in the first 2 playoff games. We'll see how she does in this one. She did have a really good game against, I think she had a 25-point game against them. She also had a game where she had like 9 too, though, Kilo. I was looking into the player props for this game. It was nothing that really stood out to me. Appreciate you, Kilo. Fred says Alyssa and Nafisha over points, perhaps. What do y'all think about that? Dirty Rig says, never mind. Suns are not efficient enough to play with the Lynx. I kind of thought about this as well, Dirty Rig. But the crazy thing about that is, and not to get too, I'm already diving deep into the game, but the Suns struggled to shoot the ball from the 3-point line throughout the season. What's crazy is they shot the best against the Lynx. Like they had a game where they shot above 40% from the Lynx, versus the Lynx. And adding Marina Mabry has boosted their 3-point field goal percentage by about 4%. They were like a 31, 32% 3-point shooting team. Since they got Marina Mabry, they went up to like a 37% 3-point shooting team second half of the season. So it has been a little bit better. Mark says all chalk and unders for me. Okay, let me talk you off. Yeah, salute to the chat, like Extreme Pick says. Timeout says fading the Lynx might not be the best idea. I'm not doing it. I know I'm not doing it. It's Lynx or nothing, but I just didn't bet it. Does Collier go over 2.5 3-point makes? Yeah, I'm interested to see how they guard her. If they try to send a double letter or if they play her one-on-one. I think, she is by far the best player in the series. And they're going to need her to play big. They're also going to need to, knock down some shots. And, the thing about the Lynx that really kind of does it for me is that they can shoot the ball from so many different places. Yeah, they can shoot the three. Kayla McBuckets can get busy. Bridget Carlton, Elena Smith. Like, they got, ladies that can shoot, but they also can attack you from the mid-range. Courtney Williams can pull up. Fee can pull up. Like, they have a nice just variety pack of ways that they can score. Mitchell says maybe a live bet on the Lynx. I can see that if their game gets close. 77 figures says 4.5, way too many points. I expect a closer game. Lynx on the money line. Liberty by double digits today. I like the Liberty today. I do like the Liberty today. Justin says he's going to take Courtney Williams up and over her points, rebounds, and assists, put it all together at over 22.5, minus 112 in his pocket. That could be a really good look. Maria says, I'm taking Lynx plus 4.5. I need 2 more picks to add to my parlay. Parlay in the plus points. Okay. Minus 4.5. Okay. All right, let's jump into Dropping Dom says he likes Bree Jones under her 11.5 points. She had an 18-point game, I think, Dropping Doms. And then I want to say she had a pretty poor game against them as well. I think it's a different matchup, though. We like Bree Jones in the last matchup. Like I said, I'll react to the market into game 1 and have some player props for game 2, but I didn't play any player props at all. PZ says, I'm on the under 163 in the Liberty game. Me too, PZ. Me too, my brother. Say Holiday, what's up? Hope all is well with you. He says, what's up, Chris? Your pick's been on point. Hopefully we can keep cashing. So just to recap to this game, I didn't bet anything. Sun versus Lynx. Strong look towards the Lynx, though. And you can get a 4, I think. I think a 4 is still in play. I also see this game potentially going under. I know it's a super low total, but, man, I think it's a potential for an under spot here. We'll see how it goes, though. We'll see how it goes. Yeah. All right. We did good enough on that. All right. Let's jump into a little bit of NFL. Let me pull one thing up real quick. Jump into a little bit of NFL for today. All right. Cool. All right, so Bengals and Panthers. I think this line is still 4. It was 4. I think I saw it moving to 4.5 right before, but I didn't update the graphic at all. Let's see. It's actually at 5 now. Looks like the 5 is the consensus. Total 47 is about the same. I talked about this game on Wednesday. Y'all drop y'all football plays in the chat. If y'all got anything. I talked about this game on Wednesday when I did the show, and kind of circling back to it again. First thing I wanted to double check, because I didn't talk about this on Wednesday, was the weather. So game will be played in Carolina, of course, partly cloudy, expected to be about 79 degrees, 14% chance of rain, but it's supposed to be just a light breeze. So I don't think it's going to be anything crazy. And that was the one thing I wanted to double check before locking the play in, because I talked about, liking Andy Dalton. And I talked about liking this Carolina Panthers offense. Last week when I talked about them against the Raiders, their team total was, I think it was 16.5. So them just needing to get to 17 points. And Andy Dalton threw 3 touchdowns by itself. I think, the Bengals, they it's a short week for them having to travel, not far from Ohio to Carolina, but it's a short week after. The Commanders, they should bounce back in this spot, absolutely. But I do think that Carolina is going to be able to score. I think their team total, we talked about this the other day, I think is absolutely in play in this game. 20.5 is the number. I do think that I saw this morning that Deontay Johnson is expected to play, even though they will be down Adam Thielen. I think Carolina scores the ball here. I think if you're looking for a little bit of plus money here, you can get Andy Dalton against his old team to throw 2 touchdowns. plus 150 on Bet365. I do think that he throws 2 touchdowns. I don't see it from the Bengals secondary. Their defense just does not generate a lot of pressure. I don't think it's just automatically because they're in a bounce back spot going to generate a lot of pressure in this game. And Dalton, he threw 3 touchdowns last week against the Raiders defense. Revenge game for him. You can get him at plus 150 to throw 2 touchdowns. You're expecting them to be playing from behind. It makes a lot of sense to me. Dalton to throw 2 touchdowns. Andy Dalton against his old team today, plus 150 on Bet365 is what I like in this game. Any thoughts on this? 3 Kings says Bengals next. OJ says Bengals cover here. What's up, Professor? Appreciate you tapping in. Mark likes the over. I like the over as well. Mark did not play it, but I do think that both teams should be able to score the football here. Love what Dave Canales is doing with Andy Dalton. MMG has a 4.5, OJ says. Lions Den says Panthers to win or Dalton over 1.5 passing touchdowns. I played 3. Damn, okay. Luke says Marvin Harrison Jr. going crazy today. We'll talk about that game in a second. And Justin likes that Bengals team total. Staying away from the defense, though. Don't play the spread. He likes them to go up and over. What is that? 25.5, he says. So we got some updated news. Oh, no, we don't. I'm just looking. I don't see anything. I don't see any updated news. Jordan Love arriving today for work. So I guess he's going to play. Bengals trifecta, Nard says. Okay. Trifecta team total or trifecta spread? I'm curious. Either way, I think Dalton throws 2 touchdowns. So that's my favorite look in this game. These were some of the things that I kind of pointed out in the last matchup. Definitely got to go through and check the injury report. It's a lot of questionables on the injury report today. I like to make sure I'm doing all my due diligence before locking in plays. All right, next game I want to talk about that does intrigue me is Philly and Tampa Bay. I'm not getting into every single game. Philly and Tampa Bay, this line was at 2 earlier in the week. I think it was at 2.5 maybe as well. And the total was at 44, and it's come down to 42. So some money coming in on the under in this spot. Other in this game, I want to say that this game will be impacted by weather. Yeah, so it's going to be hot. Humidity is supposed to be through the roof. I think so, like 88% humidity. It's expected to be 88 degrees as well. 46% chance of rain. Could potentially be some thunderstorms as well. Hot, partly cloudy. Light winds will be blown diagonally across the field. I'm on RotoWire, just for people that are interested. So a couple things kind of stand out to me in this game. Let me get to my notes and put them over here. All right. So first thing is I like Baker Mayfield. I talked about this on the podcast. I like Baker Mayfield to go under on his passing yards. The number was 231.5. Let's see. Let me see if I can get an updated number. 231.5 was the number when I played it for Baker Mayfield. And you can get you actually can get a better number. You can get a 235.5 if you got Fanatics. That's a great line. 233.5 is out there as well on FanDuel, but I don't think it's going to be a big Baker Mayfield passing type game in my opinion. So I talked about the weather, I think that leads to them being able to run the ball a little bit more. When I look at the Eagles defense, it's been pretty solid versus the past all season. This Eagles defense is actually number 1 in opponent completion percentage at just 57.3% on the season. They're allowing just 205 yards per game through the air so far. And game script wise, I am expecting Tampa Bay to take advantage of Philly's poor run defense. And when you look at Philly's poor run defense, just to kind of put some numbers to that, make sure you guys get the numbers to go with it. Philly's run defense has been pretty bad. 5.2 yards per carry, which is the second most in the NFL, giving up 135 yards on the ground. And they also given up those are the 2 numbers that I wanted to kind of point out. When I look at Baker, He's on the season, he's averaging 186 passing yards per game through 3 contests. But I think the numbers are a tad bit misleading because the first game of the season, they played my Commanders, and Baker had 289 passing yards versus the Commanders secondary. Week 2 against Detroit, only 185. Week 3 last week against Denver, 163. So he's 2-1 to the under. I just don't think I think it's gonna be more of a running game for this Philadelphia for the Bucs offense, taking advantage of that the Philly defense. So I like Baker Mayfield under 231.5 passing yards. Like I said, you can get it at 233.5. I just don't think that he's going to be able to move the ball successfully. The weather also could play a big role in this under. Outside of that, Saquon Barkley, anytime touchdown. We know that the Eagles, will be without some key players, specifically at the playmaking positions. Devontae Smith, I think, is going to be out again. AJ Brown, I think, is listed as questionable, but I don't think he probably won't play in this game either. We'll see how it goes, but I just think it's going to be a big Saquon game yet again. Of course, he's been killing it, scoring the football pretty consistently. And you think about the rainy conditions, you think about the Eagles, down a lot of offensive weapons. Tampa Bay 25th in yards allowed per game on the ground at 138. I think Barkley goes into the end zone here. So minus 130 for Saquon to score. Best number I found was on Fanatics for Saquon. Don't really like taking the minuses on those, but I mean, who else is going to score for Philly? In my opinion, I think it's going to be Saquon. Also, shout out to my guy. He talked about this one on the podcast, but Saquon Barkley, if you're looking for running backs specifically, and you're trying to take them to, receiving yards, I think Saquon probably in the best spot on the board here. You look at this Tampa Bay defense against, pass catchers at the running back position, and they've been good, man. In week 1, when this Tampa Bay defense was playing against the Commanders, Brian Robinson Jr. had 4 receptions for 49 yards. Austin Eckler had 4 receptions for 52 yards. Week 2, they played against the Lions. David Montgomery had 4 for 35 yards. Jahmyr Gibbs had 7 for 22 yards. And then last week, Javonte Williams, 4 for 29 yards. You can get Saquon right now on his receiving prop at 22.5 on most books. I think it's a 21.5 out there as well. I think it's a big Saquon game. Some dump downs out of the backfield. His targets are, I think, top 5 amongst pass catching running backs. And the yards are also, I think, in the top 10 as well. So I like Saquon in a lot of different ways today. It should be a big Saquon day for him to score a touchdown. And I like his receiving prop up and over. Shout out to my guy, for bringing this one to my attention. That's what I'm liking in this one. Let's see what you guys think about this. Anything that I just said. Baker Mayfield in this game as well. Three Kings says Tampa Bay money line. Lions Den says Chris Godwin touchdown. Jalen Hurts rushing yards is gold. Mark says he's on the under. PZ likes the Bucs to cover the 1.5. What up, Cal? Jalen Hurts or running back for 2 touchdowns. Yeah, Saquon. I'm not even sure what his 2+ is, but Saquon should get busy today. Jamie says, good morning, Chris. I think Saquon gets what he wants here today. Bucs haven't really been able to stop the run, taking him over on his rushing yards. Best of luck today. Okay. Mark says, I like Saquon prop. Thanks. Okay. What up, Helping Hands? Hope all is well with you, bro. And Lions Den says the receptions prop sounds good as well. G421 says Hurts going to have to go rushing yards over and 1 touchdown today if Saquon Barkley. If it ain't Saquon Barkley, it's Hurts. Yeah, I agree with that. I do agree with that. I think we might see some tush pushes today for sure. All right, let's transition into the next game that I want to talk about. It's not a lot, but it's a couple props I just want to talk about in this game, and then there's one more game. I want to do Cleveland and Las Vegas as well, and then anything else y'all got, y'all can just let me know in the comment section. All right, so Steelers and Colts. The prop that I like the most in this game. I'm not playing the game. I know that the Colts are supposed to win. I think a lot of sharp money sounds like it's on the Colts this week. Not wanting to lay points with Justin Fields on the road, thinking that Pittsburgh is a tad bit too hot right now. Um, I'm kind of the other mindset. I think I'm only looking towards Pittsburgh in this game. I didn't play the game, but I'm just not sure how the Colts will generate enough offense against this Pittsburgh defense. Like when I think about Anthony Richardson accuracy, it does not make me ever want to lay points with or take points with or even bet on the Colts in general, especially against a stingy defense. So for this game, a couple different ways I think you could play it. First one, Anthony Richardson to throw a pick. You can get it at -135 on Bet365. I love it. He's thrown 6 interceptions so far this season, at least one in each game so far as well. And you look at Pittsburgh defense; they forced 4 interceptions through the first 3 games. And even with all the interceptions that Richardson has thrown so far, he continues just to fire the ball down the field. I think he's number 1 in air yards, leading the league in 5 attempts of 40 plus yards on the season. And Richardson, I talked about the accuracy, but just to put some numbers behind it, he ranks 4th in the league at bad throw percentage, and he's last in on target passes as well. These are passes that would have hit the intended receiver. So he's last in both of those categories. He'll throw one today. I like Anthony Richardson to keep this thing going, man. Give me Anthony Richardson to throw a pick. This line is juiced on some books, like -160. But like I said, on Bet365, it was -135. I like that a lot. The other play I like a lot in this game is Najee. I think this is one of those if it ain't broke, don't fix it type plays here for me. Najee Marshall. I'm thinking about the NBA. Najee Harris up and over his 17.5 rush attempts. This number was I think like -105, -110. Definitely shop around, see where you can get the best number at. But I gave this out on the Propcast last week. Najee to go up and over. The number was 14.5 last week when they were playing against the Los Angeles Chargers. And the book suggested it 3, but I think it's for a good reason. So first thing I always look at when I'm looking at rushing props, running back props is snap share. He had a 56% snap share week 1 against Atlanta. He finished with 20 carries. We saw a decrease in week 2 where he had 17 carries, but he still went up and over his rushing attempt prop. And then it went back up last week to 59% snap share. Jalen Warren, I think, is also hurt. So that's even more rushing attempts and more, usage in the backfield for Najee Harris in this spot. He finished last week with 18 on the dot against a really good Chargers defense. And then there's the opposite side. So it's always 2 parts of the handicap. You look at this Colts defense, boy, a lot to be desired here. This is a team that's allowing 40 rushes per game, which is the most in the NFL, 179 yards per game on the ground, most in the NFL. So yeah, I'll take Najee to go up and over his 17.5 rush attempts. I think, the way that Mike Tomlin and the Pittsburgh offensive coordinator has kind of called the plays is, they're not putting the ball in Justin Fields' hands for him to, do too much crazy stuff, man. They just kind of running the ball, playing really good defense, and I think it continues in this spot. So I'll take Najee Harris up and over 17.5 rushing attempts as well. I think that is it. Let's see what you guys are thinking about this one. What up, Lightbear? Appreciate you for tapping in. Joe says Steelers money line again. Steelers just win these close games under Mike Tomlin, man. AR struggles mightily, and I absolutely think that Anthony Richardson struggles in this spot, man. This will probably be – he's played against some good defenses. This may be the best one that he's played against so far. I also, kind of thought about Colts team total under, but I don't want to play too much in the NFL. NFL is difficult, man. It's tricky. That Colts team total is, let's see, best number I found for Indianapolis. It's actually not even that high. It's under 19.5, so which is a key number because, that field goal would get them to 20. A field goal could get them to 20. But under 19.5 is plus 104 on FanDuel. And it's minus 115 on other sports books. So I kind of consider that Colts team total to stay under 20 points. When I look at Pittsburgh defensively, let's see. Pittsburgh has given up an average of 8.7 points per contest, held all 3 opponents under their team total, and they've given up 10, 6, and 10. So yeah, I'm not sure that this Colts offense is going to get to 20 points. I do not think that they get there, honestly. Dante says, good morning, less cash. Kilo says that the under is in play for sure in this game. And yeah, I think the way you play it is the Pittsburgh team, the Colts team total under, even at home. Dante says, shout out to you. Use your code for Moneyballer. The site is legit. Absolutely legit, Dante. I wouldn't put my name to anything that's not legit, first and foremost. But yeah, hopefully it's helping you, man. He says he likes the Steelers on the money line today. Helping Hand says TJ Watt, assists plus tackles over 4.5. How you feeling on him? Odds at minus 130. I think when I'm looking at TJ Watt, especially on a minus 130, I mean, that's already indicative. You know, that line tells me that the probability of him cashing is higher than not. So only way I would look is towards the over. TJ Watt should have a big game wrecking this Indianapolis Colts offensive line. Techno says this will be Phil's third row win. That makes me hesitant. I couldn't talk you up. I'm not on the opposite side because I know the sharp professional money is on the Colts in this spot. I'm just not putting my hard-earned money on Anthony Richardson. That's all I'm saying. My Steelers will destroy them. Three Kings says, what's up, GLB? Says, let's cash today. He likes Kyron Williams, Saquon Barkley, anytime touchdown parlayed together. And Super says, I looked at Anthony Richardson rushing props. I did not look at his rushing props. I didn't look at Anthony Richardson anyway. Let's go to the last game I want to talk about real quick. And just the FYI, I will be live with Cal Kerms kind of going through these plays and a couple more plays as well at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. I will be on my guy Cal breaking down the whole NFL card before we get to some action for today. So next game up, we got the Browns and the Raiders. Game will be played in Las Vegas. The Browns coming off just a terrible performance last week against the Giants. They were laying 6.5, 6 points in that game. They end up getting the what was it, an opening fumble on the kickoff and going up 7-0, and their offense struggled mightily. I think I saw a stat that said that Deshaun Watson has the lowest QBR or lowest EPA per quarterback since like the last 10, 15 years or something like that. I mean, this Browns team is not great at all, but the Raiders are also not good. Both of these teams coming off really, really bad performances last week. The Raiders were laying, 5.5 at open. I think it ended up going to 4 and absolutely got smoked against Carolina. So this week you got the Raiders. A lot of injury news in this game, and I want to just pull it up real quick just so I can make sure, because I know what my eyes saw. I just want to make sure I got it right. But I know Devontae Adams is out with a groin. Max Crosby is listed as doubtful. That definitely, of course, terrifies the defense, in my opinion. But this Cleveland Browns offensive line is also really, really beat up. They're going to be they got who do they have out? Offensive tackle John Coughlin, he's out. Guard did go through a full practice. Who else didn't practice? David Njoku is going to be out. Pierre Strong, running back, he's going to be out. And Jarek Wills, who is their offensive tackle, did not practice all week with a knee injury. He's not going to be available in this game either. So you got offensive injuries on both sides. You got defensive injuries on both sides as well. I think, not trying to handicap the game. I'm not sure who wins. Honestly, I could care less. The thing I like the most in this game, though, is I like Brock Bowers. I like Brock Bowers a lot. As soon as I saw that Devontae Adams wasn't going to play, I went and looked at Brock Bowers' numbers on Friday, and 52.5 was his receiving yards. I just kind of think it's going to be a game where they chuck the ball. Without Devontae Adams out there, Brock I think he'll have to step up and play big for a team that passes the ball at the 6th highest rate and for the 4th most passing yards. This Raiders offensive rushing attack has not been there throughout the first few weeks. And I don't think it's going to magically get going against the Cleveland Browns defense. When I look back at Devontae Adams' snap count, 94% snap count over the first 3 weeks. And he's averaging 9 targets per game as Devontae Adams. Saying that Vegas has struggled to establish the run would be an understatement. They're 32nd in rushing attempts per game, in yards per rush, and in yards per game. This is the worst rushing attack in the NFL. Worse than the Dallas Cowboys is the Las Vegas Raiders. So I do think that they're going to have to pass the ball a lot. You look at Brock Bowers, he had 58 yards versus the Los Angeles Chargers in week 1, 98 yards in that upset win in Baltimore in week 2 before wetting the bed last week against Carolina in a game where he still finished with 3 catches for 41 yards. So no Devontae Adams. I love Brock Bowers in this spot, up and over his 52.5 receiving yards is what I played in this game. That line probably has moved a little bit. Let's see where I can find the best number for Brock Bowers real quick. I'll see if I can find it for you guys. Player receiving yards. Player receiving. All right, here we go. Player receiving yards. Brock Bowers is at... You can get him at 51.5. So you can actually get a better number than I got on FanDuel. But I do see this up to, 51.5. It looks like it's a number. And this is also a game where, just looking at the weather real quick. Yeah, they're playing in a dome, so it won't be impacted at all, of course. I'm tripping. So yeah, that's what I like here. Let's see what you guys are thinking about this one. Clipper says, did you catch the Colorado Buffalo and UFC game yesterday? Yeah, I watched the second quarter. I watched the second quarter and some of the third quarter. They smoked them. It was probably the best overall game from Colorado in a while. Probably for the full season, honestly. Like they just dominated all 3 facets of the game, even getting that ball back before halftime and being able to get in field goal position with less than 30 seconds left was crazy. Special teams played good. Like, yeah, they look really good. Lions Den says revenge spot for Amari Cooper. Touchdown. Raiders quarterback to throw a touchdown. Okay. Addison to get in the end zone for Justin. Dante says almost a stay off. Can't trust Watson, especially while both starting tackles are out. No way I'm putting my money on Cleveland, but they probably bounce back in the spot, if I'm being honest. They'll probably bounce back. The defense will probably look great, but it's definitely not a game I'm playing. 3-time he is definitely out. Jose says can't trust the Raiders. Who can you trust? Because I'm with you, Jose. You definitely can't trust the Raiders. He says go Cards -3, Bengals -3. Yep, Justin shouted out this into the dome. Super says Amari Cooper over his receiving yards. He was drafted by the Raiders, might be motivation. Even with him being drafted by the Raiders, though, and I know he's coming off a game where he played pretty well against the Giants last week. Boy, is Deshaun Watson going to be able to get him the football? Jesus, Deshaun Watson looks terrible, man. Looks really, really bad. Was it one more or no? I didn't make a graphic for this one, but somebody mentioned it already. I'll just go straight to this page here. But I think it was Dropping Dimes, or somebody in the comments mentioned it, but I don't know how you not look at, Kyler Murray, Marvin Harrison Jr. Marvin Harrison Jr. Receiving prop. I gave this out on the Propcast on Friday before he even got rolled in because he is going to play. And Trey McBride, Trey McBride is going to miss their starting tight end. I think that's even more of a reason to like Marvin Harrison Jr. It's the squarest play on the board, but over his receiving yards, I think the number is up to like 72, 73, 74, something like that. But it was at 66.5 on Friday. You just look at what the number one receivers have done against against this Commanders defense throughout the season, and it's been they've dominated. Shout out to Jaden Daniels because he's put a Band-Aid and kind of kept the national media attention off the Commanders defense that is no better than it was last year. Andy Dalton they got behind in that game and defense couldn't get a stop. So, it was definitely a shootout of a game though. And they just couldn't get the ball back because the defense didn't force the Commanders to punt. Marvin Harrison Jr. should absolutely light this defense up this week. Mike Evans, 5 for 61 in week 1. Chris Godwin, 8 for 83 in the same week. Malik Neighbors, 10 for 127. Jamar Chase last week, 6 for 118. Washington got a long trip cross country as well after playing on a short week in Monday Night Football against Cincinnati. They're allowing the second most passing yards at 255 per game. I know Kyler Murray and Marvin Harrison Jr. are going to be super. They're going to be super public today, but I couldn't talk anybody off of playing either one of those guys. Marvin Harrison Jr. He had an 88% snap count in week 1, 70% in week 2, 90% last week against Buffalo. I'm sorry, 90% in week 1 against Buffalo, but 88% last week against Detroit. I know he's dealing with, a little bit of an injury, but I think he's going to play. It's the quad injury that he's dealing with, but I still think he's going to play well. He's going to play, and I think he's going to play well against this Commanders defense. Kyler Murray probably going to, absolutely light the zone up, which is something that he's done, for a while. Pretty sure he's going to be started in all his fantasy leagues this week. But yeah, that's what I'm liking there. GLB says he locked in Murray over his 1.5 passing touchdowns and Marvin Harrison Jr. anytime touchdown. I like both. I definitely like both. His 1.5 passing touchdowns was something that my guy Munaf gave out as well. Munaf is on the 1.5. I like that look a lot. He should be able to definitely score 2 touchdowns in this spot. If it's super spicy, take him to throw 3 touchdowns and Marvin Harrison Jr. to get 2. Probably get some really good odds there. As far as what I bet, everything on this board, everything on the screen, you guys can see that I bet. I haven't sent out the NFL plays yet, so I guess you guys are getting them first. But I did take the Liberty and the New York, the Liberty and the Aces to go under 163.5. I did take the Liberty minus the 4, lighter play. Also strong lean towards Minnesota minus the 4. I'll be watching a lot of TVs, a lot of different screens, a lot of different YouTube TV, accounts set up to be watching all these games at the same time. But I will be watching, maybe fire off something live in the Lynx game against Connecticut. And I do like Dalton, man. Like I said, it's a smaller play because it's plus 150 odds, but Dalton to get 2 passing touchdowns against his old team and a team that, gave up 2 passing touchdowns to Jaden Daniels last week. I do think that Dalton can throw 2 touchdowns. Also like that Carolina team total up and over 20.5. I think that they can get 3 touchdowns on the board today as well. Baker Mayfield under 231.5 passing yards. I love that. Saquon anytime touchdown and Brock Bowers over his 52.5 receiving yards. That's what I'm liking for today, man. Those are the looks for myself on this beautiful Sunday morning. Resources I always like to share are here. Referral code CBC will get you 20% off your first month over at OddsJam. A bunch of different sports betting tools that they have. I always talk about using that sportsbook screen page because it just saves me ample amount of time for finding the odds. And then moneyballer.com still running a 50% off promo over there if you use code ChrisBeCappinn with 2 P's and 2 N's. The link for both of these are in the description if you guys are interested in checking them out. Yeah, let's cash, man. If you enjoyed the show, do me a favor, hit that thumbs up button on your way out. Subscribe to the channel if you guys are watching on X, and like the video. And I'll talk to you guys in the next one, man. Link for all my official plays is in the description of this video. As always, bet responsibly. Best of luck on this Sunday, man. I'll catch you guys in the next one. I'm out.